Hello everybody and welcome to another Stellaris video. It's been only a day since the last video about clone armies in Stellaris patch 4.0, but a lot has changed already and I found a much better way of playing this. We're still abusing the very broken crowdsourcing, except we've paired it with anglers, which is one of the strongest early game and even late game sources for consumer goods in this new patch, and allows you to very comfortably take catalytic processing later in the game for the very efficient alloys as well. In addition, we are aquatic, non-adaptive, unruly, familial, a new trait which makes our pops very happy, and industrious, which gives us extra minerals, which is one of the hardest problems with this build actually, is just trying to sustain enough minerals to keep up with the buildings in Clone Army, which are very fast. So, with that in mind, let's take a look at our start. We start with our two guarantees right next to us, which is always a nice touch, and we're going to immediately start taking some techs, and we're going to prioritize mineral techs whenever we see it. As I mentioned before, mineral techs are very hard to come by. Next thing we need to do is immediately go into isolationist for extra unity and civilian economy, and we need to go into our species, and we need to set their rights to or their living standards more accurately, to utopian abundance. This will let us unemploy all unimportant pops at the beginning, so we should disable and demolish all these buildings because we won't need a single one of them. Right, so that'll save us a lot of pops, and we can go ahead and disable some other jobs we won't need very many of. So we won't need many enforcers. You can't disable all of them because you will go over 30% crime, which is the limit. And we want to disable technicians because we won't need technicians and we won't need as many anglers here. We also want to set up our trades, so we want to start by selling at least 20 energy credits, probably about at least 30, what is this called? 30 food, and buying about 30 minerals, as minerals is, once again, the most important thing, and also we want to buy probably 8 to 10 consumer goods, and this should just about be balanced, and yeah. Once that has started, we can go ahead and immediately buy 100 minerals and start our first building on our mining district, which is, or on our buy our first district, which will be a mining district. After this, we can also buy a couple more consumer goods just to give us some margin here. Now we can also go ahead and start our first colony ship right away, because getting our colonies up on this build is going to be super important. So what has changed that has made me claim that this build is now so good that it is really game breaking? Well, the first change, major change, is we're going to be descending instead of ascending as clones. This will let us continue to grow our pops at a very fast speed after descending, and it also returns us our building districts, which are very limited. The other thing that makes this build very broken is, once again, just taking advantage of crowdsourcing, scaling, and as this goes into the late game, you get some really ridiculous factions, and go ahead and promote your xenophobe and militarist faction. You'll get this faction almost every game. It is the strongest one, as it gives engineering and physics tech, which are completely broken for militarizing and scaling your economy up, so do prioritize that. And you can also go ahead and explore out into the galaxy. But even if you are stuck on just 3 planets, this build still does scale quite well, although going wide is, of course, preferred if you can manage to make that happen. Yeah, in addition here, you can see that the buildings on our homeworld will start to be coming out soon, right? And as soon as they are, the first building we need to make after a mining district is a civilian industries. And then we can go ahead and build even 2 clone vats on our capital, just to start pumping out as many pops as possible, because basically with crowdsourcing, the number of pops you have and the happiness of those pops in their factions essentially determines the amount of tech you get. As you can see, our tech is already climbing over 100, and we haven't even done anything, and it's just year 1. And yeah, basically with this new source of tech in the game, you can focus on other resources and scale really ridiculously quickly. You guys will kind of quickly see that as we start to scale up here. And also, just make sure you pre-move all your construction ships and science ships over to the planets to scan them, as it does take there is one thing that is very important for this build, and that is making sure you do not delay the dig site that appears on your homeworld at all. the faster you can finish the dig site, the more broken the build is. Because once you bio-ascend, and this is one of the faster ascension rushes in the game, only synth fertility is faster, and I also know that synth fertility right now actually happens to be completely broken. Like you can, it's going to get patched apparently, but there's a bug where you can get like 5,000% multiplier on job efficiency and that kind of thing, and then you can also employ more than the maximum allowable amount of roboticists to get ridiculous pop assembly. There's some funny things going on with synth fertility right now, but I hear it'll be patched tomorrow, so no video on that build as it won't be very important in the long run. But if crowdsourcing remains unchanged and parliamentary system, builds based on abusing crowdsourcing and parliamentary are going to be around for a while and probably going to be the core staples of the game. Bio is now infinitely better than robots or hives, which I think is really cool, but also I think is a little bit ham-fisted the way it's been added into the game, with crowdsourcing being basically mandatory for anything that is remotely good. And we also want to just promote xenophobia in our empire just to make sure this faction stays the most popular. As well, you could see that xenophobia pays when your factions produce as much unity as ours are, or not unity, tech as ours are, and we're going to expand the council as more council slots are nearly always useful. And yep, we're also, as you can see, I pre-built a science ship just to prepare for when our event pops, because it is so important to be ready and to have more than enough like unity and that kind of thing available to immediately get a leader on and start excavating the homeworld as soon as that event pops up. Because with Clone Army, most of you guys have played Clone Army before. If you haven't, you get an event on your homeworld that is a arcology site, and when you finish digging it, you get the option to either ascend or descend, which basically means you can get pops that are either really efficient and can not reproduce, or slightly less efficient pops that can reproduce. Also removing the need for ancient clone vats, which are, just really, really powerful bonuses both ways. And we get an archaeologist trait, which is super lucky on our starting leader, which means we'll have that available to us. And also, this is a new change in biogenesis. And sorry, I'm kind of scatterbrained here, but once you finish your first tradition tree, as mentioned in the previous video, you can have you can bio-ascend your pops immediately. So you want to leave your first tradition tree empty, and you want to finish that dig site so you can actually start the ascension process, which is gated behind, finishing that process, of course. So let's go ahead and take pop growth speed here. Planetary build speed is absolutely amazing for this build as well, as you can imagine. And one thing we want to do kind of consistently is just make sure our buildings are we never stop building on our capital, or any of our planets for that, as we're going to need a ton of resources, and we're going to need to make a ton of jobs for our pops too. So keeping our planets busy, upgrading and developing, super important. Try not to fall behind in that, as it can be a pretty big problem. Also, let's go ahead and tone down our mineral buy a bit, because we're going to start to produce most of our minerals instead. We're also going to increase our alloy supply. What can I sell? Actually, sell some energy credits just to buy just some food. We sold a bit too much food. Oops, not a big deal. Start a second colony ship. Another charismatic leader is great. Skirmisher leader is fine. And we'll go with this for now. As you guys can also see, we do have found some planets out here in the galaxy. It's not too important to find habitable planets for this build. It is nice though, as it will give us some extra options as we go forward. But for now, we're just going to focus on our capital and all that good stuff, and just making sure we're constantly developing and keeping up in minerals. As you can see, we are getting a little bit low in minerals, so make sure we don't get too low. And as you can see, at year 3, we have 180 tech. This is actually a relatively unlucky run, I would say. It means our factions are pretty spread out in the sense that a lot of different factions are available to us. If you get more concentrated pops in one faction, then you get an even more ridiculous faction output. If you're really lucky, you can be borderline 300 tech at this point, but since we're not building any tech, it really is mostly up to RNG, other than your starting ethics, which also do help. We are xenophobic, egalitarian, and militarist. I forgot to mention that in words, but the reason this is important is mostly to manage your factions, because if you get the xenophobe and militarist faction, it's one of the easiest to appease, and very importantly, it gives the team most useful techs. And other factions, give other techs depending on which they are, which are always useful as well. Another thing we'll have probably noticed is we do want to focus a lot on consumer goods on our capital, because I do believe Anglers is bugged, because when you build angler jobs on any other planet other than your capital, you don't get the bonuses from the anglers. So yeah, that's not great. And what do we get here? Hazardous Storms is a good energy buff. We could convert this into an energy hybrid planet, like energy tech hybrid planet. And then our last planet is usually almost always an agriculture planet. But this Cirrus Prime is also a much larger planet, so we can actually just hybrid this between like multiple different resources if we really need. Since the job efficiency will be so high later in the game, you won't really have problems with mini-maxing. So you can divide your planets among multiple purposes and still kind of have a good time, which is not something I would have ever recommended before, but is surprisingly now the case. Also, you can go ahead and upgrade your star bases as soon as you have enough alloys to do so, as they have nice slots, right? We can build hydroponics farming bays in them, for example, and just get like a nice source of basic resources just from space. And you can build trade hubs now, which produce 8 trade, which can be equivalent to about 6 of any resource. There's just a lot of small optimizations, but the big picture is mostly still, I mean, look at these factions. If we take a look at our like engineering tech specifically, for example, which we have 133 of per month, take a look at that. From factions, we're making 104. The rest of our empire is making much less than that. So, yeah. I'm not sure if these numbers were intended to be this high, or there's like some unexpected math going on in the formula that isn't behaving as intended, but I don't really care. I'm just gonna abuse it. So yeah, another thing you guys should also abuse is, or not abuse, but take advantage of, is you do need to build unity with this. And we do get the debated origin now, and as soon as this happens, transfer over your head researcher, because they're going to be the highest level, and then get a second researcher to start surveying new systems. Yeah, super important to start this. It's super nice we get the archaeologist trait on our main leader as well, making them as efficient as possible for excavating. And yeah, once again, the homeworld unlocks Ascension, which is why it is so important to get done as soon as possible. So yeah, anyhow, we can continue to build up our capital here. It's good to try to stay above about 100 minerals per month, if not more. More is preferable, actually, but it is not always possible, so don't worry if you fall behind. As long as you have enough minerals to build what you need to and keep every single planet's build queue consistently full, there's kind of nothing to worry about there. And let's also go ahead and colonize this last planet here and set this ship free to just go build. Oh, nope, not destroy ship. I just want to close this window. And yeah, another thing to be careful of is very careful when colonizing planets with clone armies, is the planets will decolonize very quickly if you do not build an ancient clone that. And they decolonize much faster than they used to. So you have to be very ready when a planet is finished colonizing with enough minerals, or have the reaction time to sell resources and buy minerals, right? And ancient clone that right away, as if you don't do that, you might be caught with your pants down and just have a very bad time, as that resets and ruins your first colony, which is a huge setback. Also, remember, leave your first Ascension perk blank. It feels really funny to leave this year, but Just remember to do so, and it'll all pay off once we manage to get our ascension going. By the way, if you also do find any new, ooh, that's a lot of planets. We should start surveying that direction. You know, getting new planets to terraform later will, of course, really help our scaling. So that is really nice. And did we accidentally lose a commander there? Yeah, we did. Oh well, not a huge deal. And yeah, so kind of in a bit of a lull here, just waiting for stuff to go. So let's go ahead and speed up time a little bit. Always good to practice playing in normal multiplayer speeds, which is why I typically always play on the same set speed. But if you like fast forwarding a lot, go ahead and do so, of course. The game is ultimately about having fun, so whatever is the most fun for you is what I recommend. Also going to go with engineering specialization. Yes, we already have a near ridiculous amount of engineering tech, but more never hurt nobody. We will need to focus on society a bit too at some point, as society tech is super good for, well, clone armies, right? And we can turn mining subsidies on too, which means we can go ahead and build the mineral extraction specialization. Also, don't be afraid to spend your trade to just instantly build something. If you ever need it, right, it's completely worth doing and it'll save your time in the long run. So, also, let's build the materials workshop and just watch as our engineering tech flies up, which is it's just so funny how much tech you get. 336 at year 6 is not fantastic, but it's pretty good. Right, and this will only go up as we get more and more pops. So here we get a farmer upgrade. We'll take that. And here we can take something that doesn't give us new unlocks, like this Corvette. And we get Archaeologist 2, which will make us require much less luck to break through. And as you can see, we might get a ridiculous year 6 completion, which would definitely be a record for me, which would be just amazing. But I'm somewhat doubtful. I'm a bit skeptical, you could say. And yeah, also let's remember to just keep every planet building when a planet is not building. Try to find something for it to do, as otherwise we'll fall behind. And yeah, we get the first stage of the event, which means we're not long until we complete it. Probably, like, I'd say if you get before year 9, you're doing good. And if you get around year 10, that's probably like average. And if you get any later than that, unlucky. Also, let's remember to designate our worlds. Use the new world designations. We can pre-designate this as an alloy world or just an industrial world, because I know from experience that we'll need to put some effort into maintaining our industrial economy. And rare crystal plants is amazing too. Oh, we had a close call, but we don't get punished, which is nice. And let's also build the last administrative office here, just to give us enough unity to actually complete the tradition trees when we get access to them. And take a look at how happy our pops are. Oh my god, oh my god. I don't know how long this planet has been here, so let's pause. Let's demolish a clone vat. And we have 69 pops left on this planet, which means we'll probably be able to complete the clone vat in time. And did not suffer any major consequences from that, which is nice. And we'll also start building a heavy industry area. And probably just like one civilian industries here as well. I guess we can actually use our capital for this, so we don't need to build civilian industries here. As, once again, I mentioned that anglers do appear to be bugged, and you can only get pearl diver jobs on your capital. Everywhere else, you won't get pearl diver jobs, so you won't be able to produce. And we do get this Rowdy Bunch event, which sucks because it'll completely tank our tech from jobs, though this is the vast minority of our tech, so I guess it's not a huge deal, but it still doesn't feel great. And we get food processing facilities. Never skip this. It can be really bad if you do. But fortunately we don't. And yeah, we can research this. It only takes 4 months. Not a big deal. But yeah, as you can see, we went from 400 tech back down to 370. So we still took a pretty big hit. 30% chance breakthrough on our homeworld at year 8 is also very, very nice. 0% stability. that's not it. Let's prioritize this Autocathon monument, and let's also pre-build a medical center here, and that will make these pops a little more happy as this Rowdy Bunch event, which gives 50% devastation, passes through, and minus 25% happiness, which is a really ridiculous debuff for a colony, as it basically makes this not a colony for me anymore, as it's just there. But I guess it's good for long-term gas output, so that's something. Means we won't need to build a gas plant on our new planet, and here we're probably going to go with the risks are too great, bolster security, as I do not want an ethics shift. That could be pretty bad for our empire, which really wants more specific ethics. And our homeworld excavation is finished here, which is amazing, and very soon we'll get an event pop up which will make it possible for us to research. What am I trying to say? Not research. It'll make it possible for us to start the ascension. And here on this first pop-up for our history, we want to select no, we shall face reality. That simply allows you to select a better event later on. And nice, the Savage Spores event is gone, but once again, we're paying the price in terms of other stuff. Oh yeah, I don't think we ever researched the biology upgrade building. So in this new update, there are new buildings, the materials workshop, and then an equivalent building for society and engineering tech. And if you look at the bonuses here, it gives +1 engineering research per 100 engineering researchers, which is an amazing bonus because it applies before percent bonuses. So it really stacks up to have the building that specifically boosts, one of the resources that you need or the techs that you need, and also being able to focus your tech into whatever techs you need is also a really nice change. And it's really nice for mini-maxing or tech rushing if you know what you're trying to target, which is just like a really, really cool change to see, Here, let's also get a synthetic crystal plant, as we will need crystals as soon as possible. And as you can see, I also enabled just a few generators because we're going to need some generators soon. And our tech is terrible, thanks to this rowdy event, but it shouldn't affect us being able to rush our ascension anyway. So, although we are lacking a little bit of society tech, we do have some factions shifting towards society, which is nice. This is actually a nice faction too, engineering and society. This is why I think militarist is so important now. Not because you want to be a militarist, but just because every single faction that has militarist in it, even though they're less happy, produces engineering tech, which, well, it's just so important to not be lacking any engineering tech, right? So, yeah. Our devastation finally is going down, and our stability is not decreasing anymore, at least. So that's nice. One thing we can do is we can look for a governor with better traits, but we don't hit it there. I'm mostly looking for the trait that lets you build faster, the architectural interest trait. We don't happen to have any governors with that, and if we ever see one, we'll go ahead and hire them, as they will probably be a much better governor than whatever we have available right now. So yeah, and this planet, as you can see, is getting full, so we can start to consider what else we want to do with it, and just like start pre-building random stuff on it, or not random stuff, but like whatever we want the planet to do long term, which is probably agricultural plus energy and research, probably something like that. This planet will probably just be, it's a very tiny planet, size 12, so we'll just fill it with industry, as industry doesn't really scale much with the size of the planet anymore. And this is the tech I was talking about, by the way. Xenobiological lab that boosts society research output per researcher, and there's also one for physics, but it's by far the hardest one to roll. I have no idea why, but hey, it is the way it is, and I don't question it. So yeah, take a look at this. Our basic economy is really, really good. We can stop selling food just to keep that in the positive as well. And this is like kind of one change from the previous ways I've played this build, is since you're getting so much tech from factions, just focusing tech a little bit less and focusing more on basic economy actually speeds you up in the long run as we wait for our homeworld event to pop up. Basically, it'll be Bio-cipher code. We'll research that as soon as it pops up, and we will be doing really well from there. That's a new event. Don't think I've seen that one before. Oh, there we go. Bio-cipher code is now available. Reached at 21 months is quite a while, as our society tech is really bad. But hopefully we can fix that as soon as we can. I guess we're just stuck with somewhat slow biotech, which is fine. So I guess in the meantime, it'll be pretty important to just keep our alloy planet upgrading here. Do we have a moat building yet? We don't have a moats building. That is fine. And look at the 98% stability. Just gives you such huge bonuses from pops. I mean, like, this planet would be very happy if it weren't for all these negative modifiers. But yeah, that's why I think familial is so good of a trait. I believe it's one of the strongest bio traits available now. 20% happiness is just such a ridiculous bonus. I definitely think it is probably worth it. We do get civilian fabricators there, which is really nice, as, well, this was getting close. And civilian fabricators unintuitively boost the amount of Pearl Diver jobs you get. And once again, for some reason, it only works on your capital. But I don't make the game, I just play it. Let's also take a look at this. Okay, we're look at the stability jumping around like crazy. It's because of faction approval or something? I don't even know. Anyhow, like, the amenities aren't even stable. Like, what? Why is it sometimes positive, sometimes negative? I'm so confused. Oh yeah, one thing we can also do, or that we need to do even, is allow resettlement and just move pops over, because there's so many civilians on our capital, right? We just move some pops over, fill up the jobs. Yeah, and this will boost our tech quite a bit. I forgot to do that earlier because I didn't check on what was actually occupying all of the jobs on this planet, and yeah, turns out it was nothing. So yeah, could have done that earlier and got some extra tech, or not much even, because, well, the devastation is really hurting us. But yeah, how annoying is that? That is definitely super annoying. And yeah, we're stuck around 300 tech right now, but don't worry. If you thought this wasn't broken enough, you won't be disappointed very, very soon. As soon as these very slow biology techs finish. So I guess in one sense you might want to focus biology techs, but late game I don't think you'll regret having factions that promote industrial engineering tech, right? So, and we're also going to start to pre-build medical centers on our planets wherever we can, and you'll understand why once we get a little bit farther into the game. And wow, this tech is really bad. Our factions are not doing us justice here. Yeah, it's because they're kind of like even. They're both all around 3,000, and this one's much smaller. Because it's like non-linearly scaling with pop size. So, what is that? Technician efficiency on Alpha Centauri Prime. Okay, cool. Physics research per technician. Alright, so it's a good backup generator world. That's pretty cool. You get a pre-FTL up there too. Pre-FTLs are no longer as good as they used to be, as once you ascend, pops are not at a crazy premium anymore, in the sense that you can actually have more than enough pops without rushing as many planets as you can and that kind of thing. I'm sure if you also do that in addition to everything we're doing, you'll probably, of course, scale even harder. But not everybody wants to play very wide, as it's kind of a less fun and less targeted way of playing the game. So, yeah. And let's just build something on every planet, right? Even if you don't know exactly what, just keep the build queue going. Genetic crossroads, and here we're going to take clone fertility. So in 19 months, we can start our Bio-ascension, which is, of course, a very nice thing for us. It'll be, once the Bio-ascension is done, the resources are really going to go completely crazy. It is genuinely somewhat insane how many resources you get from being a fully ascended empire this early on. And here we're going to take Innovation Coordinator. We'll take this later. This is Minister of Seas is still very, very efficient for Angler builds, but an Innovation Coordinator will actually give us bonus faction output as a percentage. And as you can imagine, that's a very nice little bonus to tech, like 10-15%, just for existing, and this will only increase as our leaders level up. And of course, we can now take Favorite Society, increase our bonuses even more, and start to like ridiculously scale. As you can see, for early game, our alloys aren't even bad, because we're just building alloys buildings like crazy everywhere, right? So that's like another nice little bonus to an empire like this is, well, you're going to have alloy foundries everywhere. You're going to have clone vats. We can start to build clone vats on some of these planets. Some of these planets we don't have enough building slots yet, but don't worry, it'll come. And we're only making 80 unity, but since we're not rushing traditions very hard, since we're ascending from our first tradition, it's not a big deal. So we can have this guy start to survey again, right? And if you really want to mini-max, you can actually build another science ship and have them start to do the anomalies. And the anomalies are worth a lot of tech as well, so that will help us get even more tech done. Yeah, a lot of optimizations still to be done and found. And I don't know if robots are playable at all. I don't know if hives are very playable at all, like in terms of competitive multiplayer. I know synth is still extremely good, especially if you synth from a bio-empire instead of a Gestalt one. I think Gestalt might be on the back burner for a while, unless these faction output traits get nerfed at some point, which could, should, and like, yeah, probably definitely should happen. So exotic gases trait is nice. That'll be good for this planet here at some point. We do really need colonial centralization. Maybe society tech is the best tech. I can't even tell. It could, society tech could be really good now, actually, because it helps you ascend faster, right? And in addition, there's some really important ones like colonial centralization. To get this last trait here seems like it's really, really important, to be honest. So I kind of do regret not focusing that harder. And I'm gonna replace. Actually, I guess we don't need to replace. We can just build a recirculation center. And oh yeah, we still don't have the society tech for this. And as you can see, now we are fully ascended. We can go ahead and take biomorphosis and start our Bio-ascension, where we're going to go cloning. I believe cloning is the best, but tell me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong, as it simply gives you enough pop growth to like ignore like pops as like a concept even. And yeah, we're going to fully invest in these genomic research labs everywhere, as they give us extra society tech. And they obviously allow you to actually start the situation, which is paused until your first one of those buildings is done. This is also why it's so important to have enough minerals. You can start right away. And also, don't do any new tradition tree. We're going to wait to take fully finish our bio tradition tree once that is done. And yeah, as you can see, almost 500 tech at year 15, 39 alloys, 79 unity, and a healthy dose of these resources whilst already starting our ascension process, which is going to be earlier than most other builds in the game. Not all, but most. Another thing we can do is we want to start putting clone vats down where we haven't already. We don't have a clone vat on this planet yet, but I guess there's other buildings we need to do first. We can have some bad pop growth. This is also why I don't like the pop growth system now, is it's really hard to view your actual pop growth. We're obviously not getting plus 1,300 pops. That's like a temporary shift. So yeah, trying to read between the lines and understand whether something is like a temporary shift or actually like a permanent gain or change it's definitely hard to tell at times. So no worries, however. As you can see, our monthly pop growth is already not bad, just 4 regular pops per month. If you see the estimated growth next month, that is a generally pretty accurate number to your true pop growth. Don't look at the big green number. That one can be a little bit misleading. Or I say a little bit misleading, but I truly mean a lot misleading. Yeah, our society tech has caught up to our engineering tech now, which is really nice. Did I accidentally build the wrong building on this? Of course I did. No worries. Need to buy some food as well, since we're running out of food, as our clone vats do consume food. Let's resettle some civilians over. Just make sure we have enough food jobs being worked, and we're out of energy, so let's sell some alloys, let's sell some Zro, and stop selling energy and purchase some right off the market. And yeah, that will definitely give us enough pops to start producing a food economy, and we can also start the agriculture upgrade on this agricultural district. Yeah, there's a lot of new technology with the districts, right? So one thing is, once you unlock specialization, you've probably seen me do this a few times already, you can go ahead and build the specialization districts, which allow you to put down the energy grid or the mini purification plants, etc., etc., etc. We don't need Dyson swarms yet, as our energy output is going to be more than good enough without it. Like, we can simply enable more technician jobs, right? And we'll see that we immediately probably have enough energy. Wasn't paying attention to the fact we had a good number of civilians there. And yeah, as you can see with the genomic research facilities, we're getting a lot of medical researcher jobs. And one thing that's very nice is the medical centers actually add to that, which is why I said to pre-build them. As a medical center plus a genomic research facility will give us a ton of society tech output and all that good stuff. And yeah, if we take a look at a planet with a clone vat and a genomic research lab already done, we'll see that the true pop growth is already 9, which is really good if you think about it. That's definitely a lot for old Stellaris. I'm not sure if it's a lot for new Stellaris, to be honest, but we'll find out soon enough. And yeah, I do want to start moving over here and start claiming some of these systems, as having a few extra guaranteed expansion planets will be nice. Robots are no longer very important, as you got to be really careful with the new robot buildings, as basically they instantly expand your workforce by 25% upon completing the building. And the reason why you have to be careful about that is, even though they instantly create job or fulfill jobs, they also instantly have energy upkeep, and a lot of it, probably more than you expect, and you can very easily accidentally either go bankrupt or lose a lot of energy credits and have to disable the building. Currently it's also bugged, so you can disable the building and still keep the pops, but that is a bit exploity and will probably be patched soon, so we're not going to abuse it here in this video. And yeah, if you're microing pops too, you can decrease enforcers and stuff, but very soon we're gonna have so many pops that it won't be worth microing even. So yeah, we're not gonna bother. As you can see, our biomorphosis situation is also coming along nicely now. Unfortunately, I have not found, or I do not know of a way to significantly speed up the biomorphosis situation. Like, it just takes as long as it does, and you just have to wait. That's generally how I think. So let's go ahead and speed this up to fast as that completes. And yeah, we can also finally upgrade this as well. Let's just make another engineering sector, as you can see, our biotech is now far exceeding all other techs. So yeah, we'll keep that upgrading, keep the civilian fabricators upgrading. Oh, and we get droids. We don't need them yet. Once again, we don't have the energy credits to sustain them. So yeah, be a little bit careful about that. Aquaculture will finish soon too. That's just a fun name. I like that. Aquaculture. Oh, our industrial world is not building anything, so A mixed industry would be smart, but we'll just build a heavy industry, and if we need any more mixed industry, we'll build it on our capital. Just archives can go at some point, to be honest, but yeah, one thing we should consider is, let's see, what do we want here? Research speed, yeah, sure, that sounds good. Is at some point we want to build we want to build one of these on our research world for to be too. But one thing we do want to build also is we do want a autocathon monument on every planet at some point, just to help with our really poor Unity output, which means we will need to destroy buildings that exist, which is why build speed is so important, as we're going to be swapping buildings back and forth, like to and from, what we actually want all the time. So why is this ship not coming? I swear I told it to go over there. Oh, it's an alien system now. Okay, well, we'll have to fight them for it, I guess. Not a big deal. I guess a 3-planet build is fine, because I showed you guys a 3-planet build in the first game. And, well, we're clearly going to get another 3-planet build game, so yeah. Let me just try to think of things to keep building on every planet, too. Like, this planet has an empty slot. And we already have an autocathon monument, so not exactly sure what I want to put there, but we'll figure it out soon enough. We don't really need another gas refinery, as we're already producing really good gases right from our event here, so we can skip gas refinery. But we do need a moat plant, which we don't have unlocked yet, unfortunately, which is pretty insane. But also I think physics is our slowest tech by far. Although 650 tech is kind of unheard of at year 18 for most builds that have ever existed, maybe except for synth fertility. But synth fertility definitely does not have the early game of this build. Like, they would not be able to accumulate, for example, 6,000 alloys. Yeah, sure, we can research Grand Archive as well. And eventually another civic slot should be coming very soon, as we just have so much society tech. Like, these techs are really flying by at this point, and our empire size is not huge as well. It's not small, but it's not huge. And yeah, now that we're also mostly out of civilians, you can actually drop out of... Yeah, here we go. Cloning, of course. We can actually drop out of Utopian Abundance, and it'll save us a lot of consumer goods, which is nice. Oh, we apparently still did have a lot of civilians, because... Wait, does Utopian Abundance... Hold on. I think Utopian Abundance might affect not just workers anymore. In which case, it's always worth keeping on. Okay, I think we might have made a mistake there. Let's take a look. Species. Set rights. Utopian Abundance. Political power. Yeah, because my tech dropped a lot. So, yay, guys, good to know. Leave Utopian Abundance on. So, good thing this isn't in Iron Man, so we can just go ahead and load a save. Not a big deal. I mean, I'm learning this patch as you guys are, so I am going to make mistakes like that. So, yeah, let's not turn off Utopian ever, it turns out, because it's worth a lot of resources, apparently, for very few consumer goods, to be honest. Like, one building would probably produce about that many. And one important tech, too, is also the genomic building upgrade, or the medical upgrade building. It's really funny. The medical lab used to be one of the worst buildings in the entire game, and now it is one of the absolute best. And, like, take a look at this. We're only halfway through our situation. Our true bop growth is already 11. 10 on this planet. 9 on this planet, right? Really fast. That's as fast as clone armies used to be at the beginning of the game. We also need to take this gene tailoring to continue our situation, which is paused. So, yeah, but luckily with the amount of society tech also we have, it's not going to be a long research, so not a big deal. Let's also kind of speed up this building process, as we do want to get that done as soon as possible. And we can also just put down more alloy foundries, although we are starting to run a little bit low on minerals. Not a big deal. We can build some surface quarry depots and make some more mineral jobs, and that will fix itself very quickly. And yeah, I just can't wait to show you guys the output once we ascend. It is truly ridiculous. And yeah, I haven't made first contact with anyone because I don't want to run into anyone aggressive, but I think we can start doing that now, as we'll want to retake Tragula's Cross as soon as we can. And yeah, just speed it up as we're in a bit of a lull. Not much is going on right now. And yeah, as soon as this is also, we can go ahead and build this food processing facility. That's probably a good idea. And a data-driven research lab and a bio upgrade. And yeah, we can just go ahead and make sure we keep our tech cycling, keep everything going. And we're really just waiting for this event to finish now, as when that event finishes, our resource production is going to absolutely sky. It will be really, really amazing how much we make from, gene clinics too. Very amazing. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to show you guys the power of being fully ascended in biomorphism as soon as we can, right? And yeah, like look at the build queues too. They're super long. I do wonder if we should take just a random cheap tech here, just to cycle us out as soon as possible. But I don't see anything good, so we have very little tech options due to having bad leaders and not being discovery. So our effective tech speed is not actually that fast, which is a bit of a shame, but it is how it is. Also going to go ahead and queue this. Yeah, see, we're finally out of minerals. No. Stop buying consumer goods. Just buy some more minerals, though, just to get all these buildings queued up. And yeah, we're passing 700 tech now at year 20. Very nice. While still having an alloy income, whilst having a existent Unity income. It's not a good Unity income. Here, happiness and stability is definitely the way we want to go. So we'll go ahead and click on that. And yeah, you can really see that like the scaling is coming in before we even ascend, and after we ascend, our pop efficiency is going to go through the roof. And we'll be producing some genuinely mind-boggling numbers. I finally get chemical plants too. Super late. Year 21 chemical plants. I guess that's what happens when you're not mini-maxing too hard, and you're just kind of playing the game. No arc furnaces yet either, which is actually pretty funny. But once again, we're not really rushing it because honestly, arc furnaces are relatively like the ROI on them is not particularly good when your economy is going to be as strong as ours is going to be after we fully ascend, right? Which is a relatively bold claim, but I believe it to be true. So yeah, speaks a lot about the actual power level of good builds these days. And here, stability, we don't really want to be authoritarian, so we'll go ahead and click away from that. And we do get our last civic slot here, which will allow us to fully ascend into catalytic, or take catalytic, which will allow us to scale our alloys up, which we already have 8k of, by the way. Biomorphosis is great. Evolving society is probably better. Yeah, let's just do that. And I guess we could start taking ship techs now, as in a year 30 peace game, we would want to start to be able to prepare to defend ourselves. So let's pretend we're doing that, actually, and just start upgrading our star bases. We also forgot to ever populate these star bases, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah, this building is reserved for our moats building, so we can't upgrade in that slot, unfortunately. Also, if you build an automation building in one of these districts, it'll replace something in your main district, so be careful. You might accidentally delete an important building. I've done that before, so learn from my mistakes. And I would normally take this, but as I said, I'm going to pretend like this is a multiplayer game, and we want to pretend to want to militarize now, so we're going to play like we need to do that, even though we don't. So let's also take a look at this planet and see if there's anything we need to focus on. Not really. I guess we can upgrade this, as that'll be really nice. Applied Mechanics Institute too. Like, look at these tech numbers. 848, and I haven't finished Ascension. Truly mind-boggling. Yeah, also, we're just building this as a energy backup world. I know our energy credits are now very good already, probably better than you would think you would need, but yeah, here we want to master cloning, of course. But it'll all be worth it in the end. It does also seem really bad to have this archives area, but I do think having the archives does help us with our unity a little bit, which is, I'd say, our most struggle bus of a resource. At some point with this build, you would need to take a planet and dedicate it completely towards unity, because otherwise your tradition tree will take 80 plus years and your tech tree is going to be finished much sooner than that, and that imbalance will cause some less than ideal situations later on. So that is something to keep your eye on. Yeah, we can just start upgrading these star bases. We don't have a starport upgrade or anything, as 3 tech options is just terrible, but with this amount of tech, also we won't have a problem just cycling through cheap ones to unlock other ones. And we get disruptors, or basic combat roles here. Take disruptors, I guess. And we also have the ability to reform into catalytic now, which will also let us reform our government, which is really, really nice. So where's catalytic? There we go. Reform catalytic. This will make us redo our council, which is fine. Head of research, Minister of the Seas, innovation coordinator, and a principal catalyst. And we'll re-add a. Ooh, we don't have a good principal catalyst option, but we'll just hire a basic one. And yeah, take a look at that. 129 consumer goods now. Finally get alloy plants as well. And our minerals are through the roof in exchange for burning a little bit of food, but it's really not too bad, as you guys can tell. And yeah, we can start to focus very hard on increasing our alloy output now as well. And we can also go ahead and switch over to militarized economy, as our economy is no longer suffering from not enough consumer goods. Let's also get that upgrading. And set the clones free, get some extra pops. Some extra pops are always useful. And yes, just amazing build. 94% stability. Look at that. 100% stability on my capital. 100%. 30% bonus resources just from stability is really funny to look at, to be honest. I don't think I've seen 100% stability while playing clones ever on the 3.x patches, right? So, really crazy to see that now. Also, biomorphosis is almost done. Let's give us a little bit of a speed boost until that happens. Can finally start building useful buildings on this colony as well. Build the chemical plant. Do we have a source of motes already? Or not really, yeah. So build the chemical plant. Catalytic technician output. And we are not hitting cruisers, which does suck if this was a year 30 game. So let's pretend it's a year 35 game instead. Cyto revitalization centers. It's also going to be really important for us, so let's go ahead and take that. No, the storm is coming in. Devastation. It seems to be mostly a purely negative storm, so. Oh well, we forgot to turn storms off, which is definitely the worst DLC of all time in my opinion, but hey, it is how it is. Let's also remember just to build agriculture districts everywhere. Should be pretty important. Field Dynamic Center, sure. I do want. Ooh, we got arc furnaces and coil guns. I guess we'll take arc furnaces. I love how arc furnaces is just like a normal tech to see now. It's unbelievably late considering the amount of tech we have too. 961 tech, year 24. We're not even ascended. Genuinely amazing, isn't it? And yeah, you can also see, like, as we start to get all these building upgrades available, we have a lot of buildings to focus on, which is why build speed is so important. But yeah, I mean, despite all that, look at these minerals when you're not burning them all into consumer goods. So amazing. And since we're ocean worlds, we get a lot of food districts, so that's not a problem, right? Like, the synergy here, I think, is pretty good. even though we only have a plus 95 alloys too, it's going to go up pretty quickly very soon. So yeah, here our biomorphosis situation is finally done. We're fully clone ascended now, and we can go ahead and finish out this tradition tree immediately. And I think this first option is better, allow replication regency. Yeah, I think that's probably very useful. And here we're just going to take something like tech ascendancy or something like that. It is not too important what we pick, but yeah. We're fully ascended now at year 25. And another thing we can do with that is, first of all, look at our basic resources. A decent jump, as you might have noticed, is we can also immediately modify our species. Since I am brand new to this, I don't exactly know what are the best traits to use. Maybe fertile and something else. Talented, maybe. A lot of good options here. Communal, probably pretty good, since there's so many pops. We are not allowed to take erudite, which is interesting, but fertile. You can't remove very strong, interesting. We're already intelligent. Natural physics. I have no idea why. Am I looking at the wrong trait? Am I looking? Oh, I was probably looking at like this weird mutation. It's a great template from our actual main species. Job efficiency from researcher jobs. Like, how do we define researcher jobs here? You know, like let's take a look. How do I hover over that? Oh, there we go. Biology, engineers, brain drones, physics, brain drones, engineering, subroutines, biology, subroutines. So actually, that's not that great since we don't have that many jobs. Nerve stapled. No, we cannot nerve staple our main species, it looks like. Though job efficiency plus 15% is a really nice bonus. I think the best course of action here is just to go fertile, and then a couple other minor traits, or even just removing unruly at this point could be pretty useful. So let's go ahead and do that. And the really nice thing about this too is if we apply this template, look at how fast it is. 700 research. Done. You know, like 1 month it'll be done. Amazing. And we're over 1k tech now with our newfound population. Oh, there's an amber alert. Oh, I hate that sound. That sound really... Ooh, that jump scared me a bit. Anyhow, what was I doing? Right, I was looking at techs. And yeah, remembering to build up as much forges as possible, as we do want some more alloys, as our alloy numbers are not great right now, but look at the basic economy. It is so robust, which I do think is very important these days, as it is really easy to run into economic problems, right? So not having to deal with that is, of course, super nice. Of course, we have arc furnaces too, so we should be building them, and scanning systems. So we have 3 systems, literally. Like, that's it. We haven't expanded even a little bit, which is pretty funny, to be honest. Food upgrade. Let's see if we can roll cruisers before we have to start building ships. Doesn't look like we'll be too lucky with that, but hey, you never know. Starhold, okay. Only 7 months, so we can actually go ahead and get 1 more tech roll at least. And here we'll build a physics research center as well, because it's the only one we don't have yet. And yeah, also just take a look at our forge planet and how, like, completely ion disruptor, perfect. Having only tier 1 disruptor year 30 is not even very good, so I'm happy we managed to get more than that. Or Empire Capital is actually not building anything right now, so what can we build here? Job efficiency from pearl divers. Wait, that's really good. Yeah, let's build one of those. Let's also replace this, see if we can find something else that's good. Like, there's so many new buildings. I haven't played with most of them yet, so as we get out of the early game buildings, I'm probably about as unknowing as anyone playing this game right now, which is pretty fun. But yeah, just seeing the crazy amount of tech we have is also just funny as well. Wow, we dodged cruisers again, which is really insane. Um, Also, yeah, one thing I want to take a look at is what is our true pop growth? 15, right? We're getting 16 pop. This is like being fully synth ascended. It is almost that powerful, which is really wild. We can also replace one of these with the clone vat, because I don't think we have a clone vat on this planet. And let's see, one more chance, basically, for year 30 cruisers. It is pretty unlucky, I would say, to have 500 engineering tech. And there we go. Also start upgrading these star bases, as we're going to need as much build speed as possible once that's done, right? So, yeah, genuinely, like, such an amazing build. I think this one is much better than the variant I showed yesterday, which used... Why is this decolonized now? Is there a purifier roll by? Like, what happened? It was an alien system before. Huh. That is pretty intriguing. But yeah, once again, we're also only on 3 planets. It's not like we had a good spawn or something with 18 planets, which is often the case in some of my videos, right? But as you guys can see, that was not the case at all. In this case, we just have a crazy amount of pops, a crazy amount of pop efficiency for this stage of the game. Our factions are helping us with tech a ridiculous amount. Like, I don't even want to add that up. That's probably like 1,000 tech from factions. I'll probably be ticking over 2k tech before year 30. Like, this does not feel like virtual. We have basically unlimited pops. We're limited mostly by build speed and number of planets, except we're not. We can have as many planets as we want, and it won't affect our efficiency at all. We don't have terraforming tech yet, but we can get it sooner or later. And basically the only downside is our unity is actually a little bit bad. So I know we're defenseless right now, but let's go ahead and get our ship designer out. Cruiser. Custom. I don't know what gives broadside, right, which is what we want for ion disruptors. So all disruptors, one of the best ship designs. Terrible shields, but with disruptors they ignore all armor and shields. It only affects hull, right? So these ships are deceptively strong. And yeah, we can go ahead and just start queuing some of those up. Gosnut class cruisers. Oh, not Koshnut, Gosnut. And there we go. So we should be chilling with cruisers very soon too. Would be a little bit late to defend ourselves, but we could have just made some destroyers, as we had big alloy reserves for a long time now. And yeah, our alloys are only going to go up with time. It is a bit annoying that the alloy buildings are really undense now. If anyone knows the solution to this and how to get one planet to produce much more alloys, please let me know. I guess it would be to move away some like the chemical plant buildings and that kind of thing. But then you lose other resources, right, which they all tie together, all are very important. So I'm not exactly sure what the best solution for that is, but I'm sure over time we can work through that and the community will find some really amazing solutions for sure. Do we have terraforming tech yet? No, surprisingly. We have like almost 1,000 society tech though. 666. Okay, that's not almost 1,000. That's still very high. True pop growth 16, 18. I never know why it's not stable. Why does it go up and down? I really don't know, to be honest. We do get hacking detected too, as we continue to throw up these mega forges like absolutely nothing. They become very awesome. And yeah, also we almost have enough for an Ecumenopolis rate as too. We're kind of just lacking unity, which does kind of suck, but unity buildings are also locked behind society tech tree, so we're not even like that far behind in that sense. So really awesome. Like we still have buildings to upgrade here. We have tons of food. We have tons of everything. Like our techs are looking like it's like year 50 or 60. You know what I mean? It is awesome. I'd imagine this hive mind is probably pretty pathetic to us, although we are still lacking ships. Yeah, as we take over year 32, we'll definitely be able to see that we did not build our ships in time, but let's turn on fleet supremacy, I guess. We have enough edict fund for that. And cold fusion power, sure. And our ship should start to be popping up soon, so very, very nice. My throat is definitely dry now. I should have had some more water available to me, but I was not thinking, so I don't. But yeah, let's fast forward a little bit and take a look at how much fleet power we can get in a few years. Probably not the craziest, but as you know, I always read for for scaling instead of for defense, right? So I'm sure there's ways to adjust this to be more militarily powerful at this same stage of the game as well. It's also, yeah, just make sure we employ all the catalytic technicians we can. And we are running out of spots for Mega Forges, which I did mention would be a problem. So let's see if we're lucky enough to unlock more Mega Forges before that runs out. Also, what the hell are moats for these days? Pearl divers. Ah, okay. Yeah, I know some of my resources are full. I'm not trying to deal with that right now. Is that 100% pop growth speed bonus? I think it might be when that's done. That's something crazy as well. Man, there's so much fun stuff to discover nowadays. Like, you really don't know what's hitting you. Like what are we? 1.5k tech at year 30 on the dot, basically. 4,000 ships. It's definitely not good, but we also definitely have enough ships queued so that anyone who didn't wipe us out completely on the first pass would probably struggle to take on the replenishments. Once again, tier 2 cruisers are very good, so yeah, no concerns there. And yeah, this is just crazy. This is just crazy, and we do finally get the last tier of nano plans as well. So yeah, this is a year 30 build now, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.